So I have got some new hardware. It's an Xbox One controller. It was a gift by my friend Dantex 24. He said this guy had a little bit of a stick drift, so he gave it to me. This is what I usually use. It's a PS2 controller hooked up to my PC. I've got a special device for that. It looks like this. It's a Xbox 360 controller converter. It's pretty nice. I use it to play 2D games. So I wanted to see how this bad boy can be compared. So let's take a look. So how does it work in 2D games? This is Crimzon Clover I'm playing right now. Please excuse the scrubby gameplay. But I have to say right off the bat that the D-pad works like a charm in this game. I never really had encountered a problem with it. I could easily maneuver around the bullets, and the only time I really had problems were because of my miserable gaming skills. I can say that this D-pad really works well with these kind of games because they have like only 4 directions: up, down, left, right. So who's better, the PS2 D-pad or the Xbox One D-pad? I would say, because of my gaming experience, I would still prefer the PS2 D-pad, but this is a legitimate alternative. Here you get to see some bullet dodging with a pretty easy pattern. And here you see me getting wrecked. I usually play this game with my PS2 controller, and it never failed me. It always works like a charm. Here I'm playing it with the Xbox One D-pad, and I have to say it works really well. Also the combos work pretty good, and the shoulder buttons work just fine. After that I tried the analog stick, because why not? Playing these kind of games with an analog stick is awkward, but it works somehow. Can't say that for sure now. Also excuse the scrubby gameplay with Benzai. I'm not that good with him. I played him the last couple of weeks a little bit. Found him to be pretty funny, but I never took him to a next level, sadly. Also, how to screw up a parry. Coming up is D-pad action in Skullgirls. I'm usually a stick player, and I tilt my head to everyone playing fighting games with a pad. You are the real heroes. But what I can say now is that the D-pad works really well in these kind of games, but the shoulder buttons feel like they're having some kind of input delay. I got to recognize this because after my launcher I usually do a hard punch and hard kick. Both were on my shoulder buttons and never really got them to work well. So here I tried the same combos with my stick, and yeah, when I mess them up, I'm usually messing them up because I'm scrubby. It's not because of the stick. After Skullgirls, I tested the controller in a 3D game. The game of my choice was Metal Gear Rising, one of my favorite 3D action games. Works like a charm in this game, just like my Xbox 360 controller. But I got to notice the stick drift pretty early, because it usually happens when I use blade mode, and what it will do, it will move my aiming cursor always a step down. You'll see that later on in the video. For now, I'll let you just enjoy my scrubby Metal Gear Rising gameplay. So, coming up is the stick drift in action. First I tried to visualize the stick drift and looked at it in the settings on my PC. I kind of saw it, but here you will see it in action in the game. I'm not pressing the analog stick at this moment. It is running itself. Impressive. Very impressive. And this is what it actually should look like, playing with my Xbox 360 controller. No stick drift whatsoever. In conclusion, I can say that this controller made by Microsoft is really good for 2D games. It works also pretty well in 3D games, can easily hook it up to your PC. I did not have to install any drivers whatsoever. One thing that I did not mention in the videos was I also tried playing Street Fighter Third Strike with it, and I have to say that double quarter circle motions are kind of a problem with this D-pad. So I would still say it works well in fighting games, but more like in anime fighting games. It is not a better controller than the PS2 gamepad, at least not for 2D games. It is, in fact, a better controller than the Xbox 360 controller, because it has much better shoulder buttons and an actually working D-pad. If you ever played with an Xbox 360 controller and tried to play 2D games with it, you might know what I am talking about. If I would have to choose to buy this controller, to rent it, or to never touch it, I would definitely say that this hardware is worth of your purchase if you consider buying a gamepad for your PC. Thank you for watching, and also thanks Dante for the amazing hardware.